Good day, educators and carers of the children 0 to 4. This is the conclusion video of this short series we did on the early learning and development areas. What I would like to illustrate to you now is just to get the gist of how we implement the early learning and development areas. And you will see that although we've specified certain aims within each of the ELDAS, let's take ELDA number 1. We could say that, yep, it's nutrition and it's hygiene, it's being safe, it's physical development, and it's resilience. It actually, in the end, becomes one ELDA. It is one ball of clay that you present to the child. You make it a package deal when you present it to the children. And the same will happen with all the other ELDAs. Although identity and belonging has different aims, you take all of the aims and they all work together towards making sure that children will have good identity and feel that they belong. So the same happens here. I could continue on with all of them. Communication, having 4 different aims, but when we work with them, we really work with them as a unit, so that there's not really too much specification, like now I'm working on listening and now I'm only working on speech, but that it forms a unit. The same happens with all the others. Let me not bore you. The same happens with mathematics, exploring mathematics, that it will form a unit, and with creativity, that you in one session would have normal problem solving for the child, as well as maybe singing while he's doing some of the things, and also dancing around and finding solutions for the problems that he's experiencing with the paper being too thick or too thin. So it makes one unit. So let me not bore you and go through each one of them, but all of them are presented as a cluster. Okay, let's have a look at how I would now plan my lesson, because the problem arises when we talk about the early learning and development areas, that we have them as different learning areas. But when I teach, should I then be teaching identity and belonging, and the next period maybe teach communication, and towards the afternoon maybe do exploring maths? I can put your minds at rest. That is totally not how it happens. You plan your lessons and always make sure that you have a good foundation. Say, for instance, your classroom is nice and clean. Everything's hygienic. You're not going to contaminate everything. You're going to send the kids off to go and wash their hands before the lesson. You're going to let them sit at on a chair that has their name on it, identity and belonging. You are going to have a lesson in creativity. There's going to be a creative element to it. So you're going to do painting. And then you're also going to make sure that you teach them the names of the different colors. So you're going to use red paint and yellow paint, and they're going to find out for themselves that when they mix it, it's orange. But there's got to be some talking and some listening during that lesson, because remember when we said the blue was our code for language. We're also going to introduce a little bit of mathematical exploration here, because we're going to paint on round paper plates. And that's going to be quite a discovery for the children, that the shape of where we're painting is actually round. We're also going to make sure that we add a little bit of knowledge about the world around us, in as much as that we're also going to give them crayons, and they're going to explore what is the difference between drawing with a crayon and painting with paint. And what happens if they paint with the paint over the place where they were drawing with the crayon? So we're going to tell them a little bit about the world around us. So in one lesson, we've actually done all 6 ELDAS. But as a focus, you can always indicate that one of your main focus areas was most likely that you wanted to teach the concept of shape. But there will always be an element of all the different ELDAS in a lesson. And as you build through the day and as you plan your lessons for the week, you will find that you put some focus, quite a lot of focus on certain aspects, that you might decide that your class needs a lot of reassurance and a lot of feeling safe. So you're going to build that in even extra. And you also want to make sure that their creative ability is well stimulated. So you're going to add that. And you know that when they get a little bit undisciplined, a little bit testing the boundaries, that you've got to make sure that their identity and belonging stays quite well developed. And you're going to call them back and say, our penguins, we don't do it like that. Come on, we all start here on the carpet and we are nice to each other. Remember, building relationships, making sure that they get along socially, all included in identity and belonging. So you basically, almost like being creative yourself, you're going to take aspects and you're going to build your week, all your lessons, to make sure that you have a variety of ELDAS and that through the week you've covered all of them to such an extent that you know what your learners' needs are and where you need to give additional support. And it might be that in some schools, the children might need far more knowledge about the world around us because they're in a very impoverished area. Or it could be that English is not their first language, although it is your language of tuition. Then you might want to build in a huge amount of vocabulary. So you're going to add a lot of that for your group. And whatever the need is for your learners, you're going to be sensitive to that and take from activities that you know that will develop certain early learning and development areas and include that in your lesson plan. I hope this little structure has inspired you so that you will see that your lessons can only be awe-inspiring to the children too. This is Hillian Johnson signing off, asking you to please always make contact, be inspired, speak to your colleagues, and keep your head up high. Goodbye.